CNN's Chris Cuomo recently admitted something about Hillary Clinton that he's likely regretting at the moment. So let's see what actually two hosts on CNN have to say about Hillary Clinton and her candidacy.
Doing what they call in politics freezing pockets, because the donors are giving her money thinking she's going to run. That means they're not going to have available money for other candidates if she doesn't, and I don't think she's going to give it to them.
She's on her way to deciding.
We'll see.
About deciding.
We couldn't help her any more than we have.
I know.
You know what I mean? She's got just a free ride so far from the media. We're the biggest ones promoting her campaign. We couldn't help her any more than we have.
I know.
You know what I mean? She's got just a free ride so far from the media. We're the biggest ones promoting her campaign.
That's the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen in my life. You're admitting that you don't do your job. Now, don't get me wrong. I actually think it makes sense if you're a journalist and you favor one candidate over another candidate, but the most important thing is you have to care about the facts first. So even if you support one candidate over another candidate, you have to be willing to say, here's where the candidate that I like better is wrong. And I'm going to give you all the facts and give you all of my reasoning. So here's what led me to my conclusion that this person is better than that person. But here are all the facts, all the data, all the information on this person. And I'm not going to suppress anything because I like this person more. In other words, I'm not going to be a cheerleader. I'm not going to root for this person and go, rah, rah, yay. And actively withhold information from you because I've already decided that this is my person. Well, Chris Cuomo is basically admitting that that's what he does. He says she's gotten a free ride from the media. So, in other words, it's not just that, hey, okay, I think Hillary's better than Donald Trump. That's a totally fine opinion to have. It's that I think she's better, and because of that, I'm not going to tell you the bad things and the wrong things about Hillary Clinton. Well, dude, that's a fireable offense on a planet that makes sense because, you're admitting I'm not doing the one thing that is my job as somebody who's a journalist, as somebody who's a reporter, to give everybody all the data, all the information, all the details. You're saying, no, one of the candidates gets a free ride. That's not okay. That's not okay. And this really does help put in perspective for you. For example, what happened with Bernie Sanders in the primary? Now, to people who are super well-informed on the policy issues, we all knew Bernie Sanders had a track record, decades of fighting for progressive reform. And, we were waiting for the media, okay, let's get to that part of it. Instead, they're focusing on the horse race aspect of it and having silly discussions. But we're sitting there waiting, okay, where are the details on the policy substance? We all know it because we've read about it, but we're waiting for you to talk about it. And a lot of people do not know the facts about Bernie Sanders. And, he got arrested for fucking protesting segregation and all these amazing things about him. Very little discussion about that. So Hillary Clinton, if you had an open and honest conversation about her and gave all the facts during the primary, what would they have to say about Hillary? Okay, she voted for the Iraq War. That's a problem. Here were the effects of that vote. Okay, she voted for the Patriot Act. Yes, that's restricting civil liberties, and that's not exactly constitutional. There are major issues with that. Okay, she was in favor of deregulation. In fact, her husband signed the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, which repealed the Glass-Steagall, which was a horrible decision. Okay, she was in favor of NAFTA. She spoke about that. She's on the record about that. Okay, she pushed for TPP 45 times. And now she says she's against it in the primary, but that's not exactly true. And you can go on and on. She was in favor of the action in Libya and the leader in the action in Libya, and that turned out to be a horrible idea. She wanted to be more involved in Syria. She keeps saying, I orchestrated the Iran deal. That's totally misleading. She was against Obama even talking to Iran. She called him naive for saying, I'll speak to them without preconditions. So she wasn't even in favor of opening up the lines of communication, and now she's taking credit for the fucking deal that Obama ironed out with John Kerry, again, when he's the one who wanted to talk to him, and she didn't even want to talk to them. So all of these things, her Wall Street ties, just her ties to big business in general, if you're a serious news outlet, you have to say, here's how much money she's taken. Here's the potential conflict of interest with that. Here's why that's a problem. She's the ultimate insider. Yes, there are instances of her flipping her votes because of donor money. You could talk about the taking money from the health industry. She was for single-payer healthcare, then all of a sudden she's against it after she took a lot of money. The bankruptcy bill, which biased the laws in favor of big corporations. She was against it, then she ran for Senate, took big money, and then all of a sudden she flipped. Now she's in favor of the bankruptcy bill that biases the laws in favor of corporations. If you're serious, you talk about these things. They did not talk about these things to any serious degree. As a result of that, less information was out there about who the better candidate is based on policy substance, and Bernie Sanders lost, even though he made an amazing charge. He got 46% of the vote when he's a 312-year-old Jewish, maybe atheist, socialist, self-described socialist, democratic socialist. He still managed to get 46% of the vote with the entire media not giving him a fair shot and with the entire media not holding Hillary Clinton accountable. Well, now we know one of the main reasons why. And remember, it's not like Chris Cuomo, oh, he's just one guy. This isn't a mindset that's happening at CNN. Oh, come on. Does anybody really believe that? Do you guys really believe that? I mean, it was Chris Cuomo who hosted one of the town halls. And if you remember, I remember live tweeting it and thinking, Jesus, man, the questions for Bernie are much more aggressive and actually kind of hacky. Like they're attempts at gotcha questions. They're not real substance questions. And for Hillary Clinton, I mean, when they started the town hall, he was saying, Cuomo was saying to Hillary, did you ever think you'd be in a tight race with a, whatever, old guy named Bernie? It's just so smug and so condescending, but now we know why. Because they're admitting free ride. Free ride. Guys, I get it. Trump is a dangerous buffoon. I'm not telling you to reel back your coverage of Trump, all the negative coverage of Trump. Oh my God, he said this. Oh my God, he said that. You've been doing actually a decent job recently. A while back, it was almost all PC outrage against Donald Trump. But now they're actually focusing on some of the substantive stuff and saying, okay, that policy makes no sense. Here's why. Here's his contradictions. I'm not telling you to reel it in on Trump. Still cover Trump aggressively. But I'm telling you, you also have to stop giving Hillary Clinton a free ride. Because that's not your fucking job, and you should know that.